Red versus blue draft is underway. Couldn't be happier. What's up, Adam? You ready to go?
Scotty, I'm ready to go. I've been waiting for this all day. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Is the return of Red vs. Blue Radio with your host and fearless leader, Scott Atkins, at Scott Fantasy on Twitter. Red vs. Blue is a proud partner of the new full-time podcast network, now sponsored by Sports Illustrated. Guests can be part of the live chat we call The Crew, and also join the show by calling 646-668-8147. Red vs. Blue, where sports, fantasy, and life collides. Politically correct? No chance. Fair and balanced? Absolutely. Get ready. Red vs. Blue is back in 3, 2, 1.
Yo, it is Red versus Blue Friday night football, wherever you may be. Thanks for making us part of your night. I'm Scott Atkins, team legacy in the world of high-stakes fantasy football. And joined for the second time now. We made history last time. For the second time, he's back. Adam Krautwurst from Grind Time. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Scott? Man, I'm fired up, baby. Let's go on. Listen, Friday night, 9 p.m., perfect time. Crack open a beer, hang out with all these studs. Like the draft already started. We're in full swing already here. I'm fired up.
Yeah, it's nice to get Red versus Blue paired up with Grind Time and see what we can do. I usually joined by the Big Blue co-host from Brandenburg, Kentucky, Michael Trent, but it is going to be a great, great show. We've got Angelo Lilas coming on, the champ from this league last year. He'll be with us tonight. Ash Ibrahim, he'll be with us. He's in this draft tonight, Square Hammer, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We have this is the what episode is this? This is like the 250th episode live. I gotta get the episode number. I can't even remember how many we've done. This draft has started off like we expected. Justin Jefferson number 1, Jamar Chase number 2, Christian McCaffrey number 3. Adam, I'm seeing that a lot lately. Jefferson, Chase, McCaffrey, and I don't know if it's right or not.
Yeah, well, no one knows if it's right or not, but that's been kind of the ADP. As usual, kind of going here. I've got the ADP up right now. Yeah, Jefferson, Chase, McCaffrey for this format, this full-time fantasy championship format. Followed up by a couple more players. Usually it's Kupp, Hill, and Eckler. I'm actually kind of surprised. And that it went Kupp, Lamb, and Hill here. I'm actually kind of surprised that Hill is still as high as he is in ADP, but he might have a suspension looming with that altercation from a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, shouts out to everybody in the chat room. The Crew, some of the best minds in the world of high-stakes fantasy football can be found in this show's chat room. We also have Jack Colsheen coming on tonight, not in this draft, but a big-time player in the world of high-stakes fantasy football now. You see his name, he's coming prepared. So he's going to come on and join us for an extended segment as well. Want to run down everybody that's in this draft before we get too much into this first round because everything sort of happens so fast. Want to start off by inviting everybody and welcoming everybody. First of all, Roy is in the draft room. Best facilitator in the country, bar none, Roy Larking. He's there holding the fort down, keeping everybody calm. That's what we need. We need calmness. We need relaxed, focused intent. Nothing, no panic. No time for panic tonight.
No.
Here's tonight's participants. Number 1 out of the one hole, $33, Roman Obscena. Number 2, Pirate Monkeys. This is their 7th squad this year. Sean Medlin and Terry Tardugno. They're always out in Vegas. Number 3, BSOL, Frank Shinnick. I don't know if that's Bright Side of Life. I don't know. It could be something else. Number 4, Ruthless, the returning champion, Evangelos Lilas. He is the returning Red versus Blue champion from last year. Number 5, Square Hammer, Ashraf Ibrahim. Number 6, Team Meyer and Henry, William Meyer and Garrett Henry. Adam, number 7, Resistance is Futile, Scott Lawrence and Jim Budzik. Number 8, Los Lobos, Jose Ramos. Number 9, Mott the Hoople, Glenn Corrant, who was on last week's show with you.
Yes.
Great show. Got great reviews. Number 10, Witty Sports G, Michael Milich. He was the runner-up last year. He was the most points leader after the regular season. Fell a little bit short when Lilas's team got hot in the end. Number 11, Red Zone Raiders, Lawrence Curtis. And number 12, Team Cruz, Russell Cruz. Adam, how often does that happen to you? You're the leading team in the regular season, and then you don't get it done.
That's the worst. I mean, that happens quite often. But you know what? Sometimes you always think like, oh, it never happens for me. It never happens for me. Last year, I was in a 5K league, and I was like 4th or 5th going into the playoffs, and I had my team got really hot. Kelsey, I had Kelsey and Lamb, and my team got super hot late, and I was able to come in second in that. So, hey, listen, it goes both ways, and that's why you should be kind of reading some of Jody Smith's stuff he's putting out there with fantasy schedules, playoff schedules, man.
Yeah.
It matters. Now,
It matters.
You don't know exactly what defenses are going to do, but you know which defenses are going to probably be terrible, you know? So, lock into some of those articles that Jody's been putting out.
Yeah. I talked to a world champion, a 2-time world champion. I won't tell you his name. There's only a few of them. So you can you know the list is short.
Yeah.
He went into a long, detailed response about how he drafts for that championship stretch run and how he's constructing the roster to complement each other that's like really deep stuff, right? You're looking at somebody that you may think, okay, is the playoff schedule something I need to worry about here? Well, I don't know. How were my other picks? And what at that position and that you're getting into some deep stuff. And that's why somebody has won. It's not just luck that they win the world championship a couple times. Yeah, they have a lot of injuries or whatever. There is a lot that goes into this stuff, not only strength of schedule, but looking at maybe the age of the player. Are you a player that's going to break down as you wind down toward the season? And you need that younger player that doesn't have the experience to come up and boost you at the end, that's going to be hot at the end. And, trying to figure that out is half the fun. We don't know, but you're putting yourself in the best chance for that team to kind of gel together. So we are going to talk roster construction a lot tonight. We always do it. And at the FFWC, the one thing you have to like is we put we give you those regular season prizes for a reason, right? It's not, and you also get an automatic invite into the championship round on that regular season. So there's no way to lose that. And that's why we have the Dominator at the World Championship level. We have the Dominator because if you have the most points, you're getting rewarded big time. And I think that's important to do for people like Mike last year, Witty Sports G, who was the number 1 points for the season, but didn't finish at the end.
Yeah. And another thing too, not even to talk about, strength of schedule and all that, like, man, the bye weeks this year, I know in this format, which is nice. Again, week 13 isn't in the overall playoffs, right? Where like, it doesn't totally kill you because there are some other sites where like week 13 is in the league playoffs. And if you lose, you're out. But like week 13, man, Minnesota, the Raiders here, there's a ton of teams, the Bengals, all these teams with these week 13 buys. And it's like, listen, you can't just go draft. Sometimes you can't just take the guy you want because maybe that gives you 5 week 13 buys in the first 7 picks. Like, don't be surprised when your team, craps the bed week 13 when you weren't prepared because you had everybody on a week 13 bye.
Yeah. And we had to redo all the tools when the NFL added that extra week. So now the playoff schedule is weeks 15 through 17. And you can start to see, a guy like Jordan Love, number 1 easiest playoff schedule from weeks 15 to 17. Guess who's right behind him? Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. So will they be charging down the stretch and throw? I mean, they've got a nice schedule.
Yep.
Maybe the Christian
a dome too, like the Vikings. That's another thing to factor in. Like, man, I remember goes years back, but I remember I had the best team, one of the best teams I ever had. It was Randy Moss, Fitzgerald, Bolden, Kurt Warner, and that Cardinals team played a playoff game in outdoors in the snow, and they were unstartable, and it ruined my whole season. So a lot of that stuff, domes and schedules and down the stretch, man, you gotta have everything going for you.
Yeah, a stack maybe you have to think a little bit deeper than just saying what kind of a weather game is it? Are they playing in domes? Are they playing in good weather? That all that stuff can change, especially like a team like Green Bay. I just used the tool though on FF Toolbox, strength of schedule tool, weeks 15 through 17. Jacksonville wide receivers, easiest playoff stretch. Green Bay, second easiest, and Detroit, third easiest. Ooh. You talk about some fireworks.
Yeah.
For fantasy season week 15 through 17, that's the wide receivers. That's where it at. And then conversely, do you really want to be going up against Sauce Gardner weeks 15 through 17? If you're a wide receiver 1, he's a true shutdown corner, right? So, the Jets schedule, you start to look at that and you say, okay, well, who are the Jets playing Now, maybe you don't think that Sauce Gardner is that good. I do, of course, but it's at Miami. Okay, Tyreek, you're not scared of anybody against Tyreek. Washington, week 16. Are you wasting Terry McLaurin that week? Are you wasting Jahan Dotson? I mean, I think Sauce can handle Terry McLaurin personally. Yes. So you're probably not getting it. And then at Cleveland, week 17. Amari Cooper might have a hard time putting up numbers with Sauce and DJ Reed.
Yeah, no, it's completely true. And then you look at a team like the Patriots. I mean, we're digging deeper. I love it. The third round, the Patriots, they played the Bills. I'm talking about for the full season. They play the Bills twice, they play the Jets twice, and the Dolphins twice. Those three secondaries are 3 of the top 5 ranked secondaries in the NFL. Like, why would what do you pick? You drafting Juju? Like, what receivers are you drafting?
Luckily, they don't have receivers.
Right, that's right. That's right. That's absolutely
that are fantasy relevant. Although we have heard that Nuke is in the Patriots are in the running, I guess. Okay, let's start to break it down. We talked about the top 3. Then it goes Kupp, Lamb, Tyreek. A little bit early for Lamb. It's about right for Kupp. We've seen this before from him. Lamb and Hill, that's pretty, look, you can make a case for Lamb right here for sure, especially with the increased workload that is expected for this team with no Zeke Elliott, with a banged up Tony Pollard and no Dalton Schultz. That offense is going to run through CeeDee Lamb, and probably, the wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 are going to get some work. But Lamb is clearly a wide receiver that you can be comfortable taking in this range. Yeah,
I don't know how many teams Squarehammer Ashraf Ibrahim has. Is he on the show tonight? I think.
Yeah, he'll be here.
So we'll ask him, because this smells to me of a guy who's going to have a bunch of teams and he wants to build his rosters uniquely. Whereas if there aren't going to be very many Lamb Higgins teams. I mean, we could probably go look that up, because Higgins goes late second, early third. Lamb usually goes in the late first, early second. So you're not going to be able to build those Lamb Higgins squads. So there's a thing that, whenever I see stuff like this, I think to myself, are they trying to build a unique team that not many other teams will have? So even you see, getting a little bit ahead here, but Garrett Wilson goes a little bit early here, goes at the 9 hole. Are they trying to, does Matt, that's Snake. Does Snake love Wilson? I think he does. We talked last week about it. Is he trying to build some teams with Wilson and Waddle? So that'll be interesting to see moving forward. And we'll ask, we will ask Squarehammer when he comes on the show later on.
Yeah. Look, Kelsey here at 7, no surprise. You can take Kelsey. You can justify Kelsey with that Mahomes-Kelsey connection anywhere you want, really, in the first round. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can take him number 1 overall. It wouldn't be a shock to anybody's system. You can be like, okay, yeah, you just check that box. You have tight end taken care of, and you've got it taken care of as long as he's healthy by a wide margin. A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, you brought up. If you don't think you're going to get him in the second round and he's your guy, you go get him. And they've obviously upgraded their quarterback situation.
Yeah, I know you're the Jets. I just love Garrett Wilson this year. I have so many Garrett Wilson on my Ross St. Brown teams, and I just love that start. Where are you? I'll ask you. Where are you are you as high? I mean, you probably got to be super excited with Aaron Rodgers there.
I have the 8 pick in the FSGA draft coming up, and it is a consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a consideration. I mean, if Bijan is probably gone, I may take him. I mean, look, seeing Glenn take him, I feel a little bit more justified. It's hard to turn down Eckler if he's sitting there in your face, though. It's just hard to take that free square, because look, it's a 14-team league, and you may not get that wide receiver coming back that you're really happy about. I mean, look how fast they go. Yeah. By the 2-4 pick, you're already in that Olave, Devontae Smith tier that you really don't want to be in. You want that Waddle, Adams, A.J. Brown, or Amon-Ra St. Brown, that range of or Garrett Wilson. You want that as your second-round wide receiver there. If you're in that Olave and Devontae Smith, you feel like you missed it a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you for sure.
It's a terrible spot to be, right? Actually, I'll bet you we start to see Gibbs. Look, we saw Gibbs at 3-6. I'll bet you by the time Vegas gets here, he's a second-round pick.
I just listen. Will you hush already? Gibbs is a guy. Yo, Scott, listen. When you're a high volume player like me, man, like Gibbs is a guy where I want to draft so much now, because I'm telling you, he's going to snap off a run in the preseason. Yeah. With that elite line, he's going to take 170 yards to the house, and you're at 100% right. By the time we get to Vegas, he's going to be a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really shocking to see, you know, when 8 wide receivers go in the first round, you want to get that guy. You want to get that big name because they're just so monstrous. I mean, getting that 100 catch type season, it's really a difference maker in your team in PPR leagues. Let's keep it going. Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, you can't complain because again, those sexy wide receivers are gone. Eckler, Taylor, you're getting a good wide receiver there. When you start to do the math, you're going to get one. Diggs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, perfectly fine with Cruz. Bijan Robinson falls to the second round finally. I mean, is this the first time we've seen that? I mean, he's been a first-round pick every draft I've watched.
Yeah, pretty wild. Well, normally there's 3, right? So normally you're going to get 3 running backs in the first round of every draft. This one happened to be Jonathan Taylor. Now, Red Zone Raiders doesn't really get value on Robinson essentially because they take Taylor first. So they just, if you just swap them, that's the same thing. What's interesting to me is Team Cruz, also a Kentucky drafter. I'll see him in Kentucky as well. Gets Diggs to fall to him at 12. Now, again, doesn't necessarily get crazy value because I have seen Amon-Ra St. Brown fall a little further in the second. So there is a ton of Diggs St. Brown stacks, but to get Diggs at 12, I think maybe Diggs Bijan would have been the way to go there to get that team build, that unique team build that there probably aren't that many of.
You come in here and you look at Devontae Adams. If I took Eckler, I'm probably taking Waddle, although Adams, I mean, look, they both have quarterback issues. Tua, when I start to say Adams because of the quarterback, well, Waddle because of the quarterback, because Tua, when healthy, there's no problems. But do you really want to ride the Mike White train? You know, I don't know. So Adams with Garoppolo and who knows what the quarterback situation is going to be there in Vegas. I'm a little leery about that. So, but you got to get your wide receiver and, you know, you got to pick one. So take one and that's fine. Breece Hall now at 2.5. The reports are all saying he's good to go week 1.
Yep.
Good to go week 1. Okay. What does that mean? 10 carries? Get out of the gate, you know, take a chance. And you know, is he averaging 4 yards a carry or getting a couple catches? Okay. You know, everybody expects a slow start after that kind of an injury. I just wonder if you're hoping for the second half of the season to be, and to get there, right? You want to get there. That's the concern.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Love Breece Hall. Had Breece Hall everywhere last year. Broke my heart. Breece Hall, I think he'll be there week 1. He's saying it. They're saying it. The doctors are saying he's ahead of schedule. RB5. So, like, if he didn't get injured last year, he'd probably be, RB3 this year, you know, but in the mix with McCaffrey and Eckler and then probably him. Like, so you're not getting a ton of value by taking him at RB5. I know you're excited because the reports are coming out and good, but, you know, sometimes you got to just kind of, you know, wait to see where he falls to you. Again, Los Lobos, I see their name everywhere. They're going to do a ton of drafts. I would probably just wait and take him at his value rather than reaching for him. With that being said, I love Breece Hall. I love the player. I think he's going to be fine. And then back to your Jalen Waddle point, it's just the ceiling on Waddle is just capped with Tyreek Hill being there. Like, he's never going to get drafted as a first round receiver while Tyreek Hill's there. Again, this might be a situation where they're betting on, and this is in the range of outcomes for Waddle as far as the ADP, but is Tyreek Hill going to get suspended? And this is kind of the tier that he's been going in: Waddle, Olave, Higgins, Smith. It's the same tier. You're just going to mix up the four receivers there.
Our RDA projections by Sean Childs: 109 catches for Tyreek for 1,500 yards and 9 tutties. Jalen Waddle, 89 catches, 1,400 yards, higher yards per catch, of course, at this stage in his career. 8 tutties. So it's still an amazing season.
Sure.
Top 10 season for Jalen Waddle. And, you know, if there were something to happen to Tyreek, you know, he's that 130 catch guy again. You know, Olave. There's a lot of love for Olave. Barkley. We're talking about potential holdouts here. Not unhappy with the franchise tag. We knew. Add it to the list, you know, Barkley, Jacobs, all these big stud running backs thinking that they are, not just thinking, realizing that they are, you know, who they are. They're at the running back position, and they want to stand up and see if they can push the team a little bit. It's all contract related. I mean, we're talking about money. This is a job. This is a career, and you know, you get it. but he's already got 10 million right on the table. 10 million for a running back. Pretty good number. Pretty good, but he wants to lock down a long-term year. Do you think in his watching him the last couple years, he's somebody that if you're the Giants, you're ready to invest another 4-year deal in?
This is why the smart teams don't usually draft running backs early in the NFL draft, because even if he is a stud, now you got to pay him a second contract. And guess what? Nobody wants to pay these guys second contracts. I mean,
right.
it's just not a smart bet. But then you have a Saquon Barkley situation. You have a Josh Jacobs situation where these guys are studs. They did what you paid them to do, and now they want to get paid. And now it's just, what do you do? Now, Barkley's a guy where I'm buying the dip. RB6, mid to late second round. And look, you're going to know before week 1, and T. Meyer does a great job. We're going to take the dip on Barkley. But we're going to follow up with Gibbs and Mixon. So if he doesn't play, we still have 2 running backs. And what I'd like, I'm not going to tell them what to do, but it'll be interesting to see if they come back and go 5 or 6 straight receivers. Red Zone Raiders at the 11th spot. It's interesting to see if they go 5 or 6.
What was going on? Remind me what was going on with Barkley at the end of the season last year. Why was he only getting nine carries a game the last couple of games? Was he? I'm not banged up.
I think he was banged up a little bit, and I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think some of the defenses he played were tough, but I think he's fine. I think he just wants to get paid. And again, every year that you're off of an injury a year further, I think is better, obviously. So he'll be back. I think he'll be there week 1. Even if he just holds out. I mean, these dudes lose so much money sitting out during the regular season. I'm sorry, sitting out during the training camp too, and the regular season. So Jack makes a point. The Jets doing their homework on Delvin Cook. I would hate that. That would be terrible for Delvin Cook and for Breece Hall. It would just
not bad for the Jets though.
For fantasy, great for the Jets. Great for the Jets, but
yeah,
bad for fantasy owners for sure.
Yeah, Jack is going to be popping on here soon. Look, I think this second round is it gets kind of dirty right around here. I mean, when you're talking about T. Higgins at 2.8, Pollard at 2.9, coming off an injury again. Apparently he's okay, but okay, whatever. Devonta Smith at 2.10, Ramondre Stevenson at 2.11, Josh Jacobs at 2.12. I'll tell you, I don't like this area at all. As a drafter, I'm just trying to stomach my pick and get through it. It's almost like it's almost like, okay, do I really want to take this because of ADP and because of where the value is and because of the projections, or do I just want to, what is the right answer here? How do you get out of this predicament? I mean,
I think the right answer is running back, because I think that they're just you've been doing this a long time, Scott. RB7 at the end of the second round, right? That was never RB7 was usually pick 9 overall. Right now, you're getting RB7 at pick 20. So I think the answer is. This was why I don't generally like to go a McCaffrey earlier, and not because I don't love McCaffrey, but give me Kupp, give me Chase, and then let me come back and get Pollard and Henry, or Stevenson and Henry, or Chubb and Gibbs. Let me, usually Breece Hall's in the mix too, but Breece Hall went higher to tonight. Let me take 2 of those backs that normally are first round picks. Let me take 2 of those guys, and then I'll come back and I'll pound receiver again. So
yeah. Well, and that's what he does. Look at Roman, $33. He takes his 2 running backs. They're 2 studs.
Yeah.
You're going to plug them in every week, and you're going to get you your 15 to 20 points a game.
Yep.
And then your wide receiver 2 becomes Mike Williams, who, when healthy, that's fine. When healthy, that's fine.
And again, Jefferson is
now maybe I would fire away in that 5th round with another wide receiver instead of another running back, but 15 to 20 points is what you want there. 15 points a game.
And
don't 15 points a game
too. When you've got the number 1 pick in the draft, Jefferson is a receiver and a half. You don't need 5 receivers when you've got Jefferson, because he's worth almost 2. So you go get Jefferson, you get your running backs. And what's so interesting to me, Scott, as you look here, he takes Kenneth Walker as RB18. Another running back has not been taken. So we're comparing RB18 right now. Treylon Burks is wide receiver 33. Before we haven't had another running back. These drafts are so, I get you have to start 3 receivers. You probably want to start 4, but it's just man, sometimes the value with these running backs is just the way to go. RB18 versus receiver 33. Now, so Sanders goes. So RB19 versus receiver 33. I'm not even saying from a micro perspective. I'm not even saying I like Miles Sanders or hate Treylon Burks or whatever. but it's just eventually like you got to look at the numbers and go, man, I'm really taking wide receiver 40 over running back 20. You know, it's
this
just
is why we designed the FFWC, though. This is why this format makes sense, bro. You want the wide receivers in your lineup. We're going to bring on Jack. Let's bring on Jack and format him here for the show.
Yes, sir.
Jack, good to see you. We're seeing you in sort of a
I'll get you.
I sprung it on Adam like that. I'm sorry.
There we go.
Good to see you, Jack. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Yourself?
Well, this is red versus blue. This is like early Christmas. It's like Thanksgiving, you know. It's a fun time. We've got a lot of that's the discussion right now. Wide receiver heavy. Look, okay, hello, it's FFWC. You knew that, but talk about the impact of that and across the league. It's happening to where at some point a running back does make sense.
Jack said, hold on a minute. Jack said, wait, Adam's talking about running backs here. It's just enough's enough. Get me on the show. I got to start talking him off the running backs here.
Yeah. We need it. We need it.
You know, part of it's kind of like a bubble just in the stock market. You're taking wide receivers because you know that the people next to you are also going to be grabbing wide receivers, and it just sort of creates a
demand.
Self-reinforcing cycle. Yeah, absolutely. So it's just the trick is just being the person that doesn't take it one step too far.
So he did mention 33 versus 19, 33 receivers versus 19, and they've stopped the draft, so they're working on it. That'll give us a little bit of time to catch up here. We started with, instead of theory, we were actually breaking down the teams across, and I want to get all the way across the league because sometimes in these drafts, we don't make our way across all 12 teams, and it's the most important part of the draft. Pirate Monkeys, he starts off, he does the exact same thing. He gets the stud wide receiver, locks it in, fires off back-to-back running backs because they're just absolute studs in your lineup. And you're saying, I can find me the wide receivers that I need. He takes Hopkins because he knows he's going to get signed, and he takes Deontay Johnson. If you're going RB, that's what you want. You want two wide receivers that you know you can plug in and count on, and you don't want a lot of risk associated with those two.
And I love Hopkins there because, like, I understand the uncertainty around free agency, but I can't really think of a team destination that he's going to land on that end of the fourth, early fifth is not a good price. And there are a few options like, you know, it seems like a long shot now, but if the Chiefs restructure with Chris Jones and get cap space, then, you know, like there are certain upside opportunities where if he's playing for Kansas City or Buffalo, you're drafting him 2 rounds earlier. And even if it's the Patriots, like Juju's still working off his knee injury from last year. So they've got nobody there. So
or the Titans, Tannehill has a history of getting into A.J. Brown.
Well, if he goes to the Titans, I think fantasy owners will be in tears because it will be, you know, the death of Treylon Burks and Chig and basically downstream from there.
Julio Jones, Randy Moss, all the other guys that went there.
Andre Johnson. Don't forget Andre Johnson.
That's right.
You don't think that just eases up on the toll they have to give Derrick Henry? I mean, it makes them a more rounded offense. I mean, there's plenty of balls to go around when those balls are completed passes, right? It's what you don't want is an inept offense that can't, you know, that is just struggling and can't move the ball down the field. If you have an effective offense, it lifts all sails, right? I mean, it does. You're driving down the field. You're having more offensive plays and more offensive output. And so, you know, does it kill Chig? No, not to me. I mean, I think and does it kill Burks? Probably not. I mean, matter of fact, putting Burks as a number 2 is probably going to be way better. I mean, we just had this conversation with who last year, who was probably facing, Christian Kirk. He was facing number 1 corners all year. You think that's going to continue now with Ridley in the fold? Probably going to have a better season this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're signing Hopkins, you're doing it under the understanding that he is going to get a substantial amount of volume. Otherwise, you're not paying that amount of money. So, Burks is interesting, but the very first thing everybody who's touting Burks will say is the amount of volume he's going to get. So I'm not saying he's not a viable option, but he's dropping 2.5 rounds, you know, the next day. So, yeah, we'll see. But for Hopkins, you know, at that price, I don't see a landing spot that is, you know, is going to make me feel like I overpaid for him. And I see landing spots that are fantastic. So I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, I think Hopkins could help. Would help Henry. I think. I'm thinking back to like when they were trying. Titans played the Bills on a Monday night game, and it was and Julio was healthy, and AJ Brown was there healthy, and Brown was running these deep drags off of play action, and he was killing it. And then Henry was it. That was the game where Henry threw the cornerback there. What's this? Josh Norman throws him into the stands practically and runs for all these touchdowns.
Like, stiff arm, yeah.
Yeah, I think Scott's right. I think it will lift the offense having him there, but I think it might help Henry more than it will Chig or Burks because it'll give him lighter boxes. But yeah, I mean, and like you said, it'll help Hopkins because if they're going to throw it to him again, the 4th, 5th turn, I think you're doing fine for sure.
Let's look at team 3, bright side of life. Frank Shinnick, McCaffrey. We understand that's the pick. Devonta Smith, it's the pick. DK Metcalf, Jack, is that the pick?
I think it's good value for him. I think if you're going to go wide receiver, which he needs to, I think that's the obvious choice. I think they clearly believe in Geno to sign the deal, and they clearly believe in Geno to be drafting JSN and trying to add weapons to that offense to support him. So no, not at all. I think it's a great pick.
Terry McLaurin at the 4th round, and then Patrick Mahomes. Adam, we used to have this saying back in the day. This is dating me a little bit, but it used to be Peyton Manning in the 5th. If you saw Manning fall to the 5th, you took him because it just takes care of your quarterback, that quarterback problem that you have. It's not something you're attacking in the draft, but it's like, okay, you 5th round, number 1 quarterback, you take it. Pat Mahomes in the 5th, you take it, or you let him pass on by?
I think it depends on your build. Recently, I mean, I've been on a couple live streams drafting lately where I've ended up with Mahomes and Kelsey a bunch of. Last night I was in one of these last night. It wasn't red versus blue, but same format. And I took Josh Allen in the 5th because it's just like, okay, like I in the 5th round, you don't know what. Now I like some guys. I like Deontay Johnson a lot in the 5th round, but you don't know what you're going to get from Burks, Ayuk, Kadarius Toney. These are question marks. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts, outside of injury, are the safest picture you're going to find. So quarterbacks don't get hurt as much. So yeah, I have no problem taking a quarterback here in the 5th round. And compared to some of the other sites, they're going in the 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round. So you're able to, if you really like quarterback early, FFWC is the place to go.
All right, Jack, you and I were chatting about the Scott Fish Bowl that I'm in. And 69, 70, 71. I want you to look at those picks. 69, 70, 71. How is it possible that in a totally different format, FFWC, Scott Fish Bowl, what have you, their Evans, Addison, Dotson question is being answered in a different order, albeit, but it's the same 3 wide receivers, Evans, Addison, Dotson. I mean, what is it about herd think mentality that makes it so that Evans, Addison, Dotson in the pick 69, 70, and 71 are all being thought of in the same kind of breath?
I think people just sort of lump together similar profiles, and then you end up lumping together lumps. So like Evans, obviously, is not a profile with Addison or Dotson. You've got these young guys with a stud in front of them, so you're unsure of their role. And you've got kind of older guys that don't quite fit in, and they end up just sort of lumping together. Best guess, but yeah, I think there's a lot of uncertainty.
And I'll guarantee you when we look back at this,
and so you just get lumped together.
I'll guarantee you when we look back at this season, 37, 38, wide receiver 39, one of these guys is top 20, one of these guys is top 30, and one of these guys is probably like top 50. It's like they're not going to be anywhere close to each other. It's just, but all of us are all thinking in this same, he's easy. This is the guy to take, Let's bring in Angelo also to this discussion because he's going to pick here. I want to see what he does. He's got Cooper Kupp, Debo, DJ Moore, Mike Evans. He's got 4 wide. He's got Tony Pollard. He's got Jalen Hurts. What are you thinking, Angelo?
TJ
Hawkins, maybe.
Yeah. At this point, I'm looking at what's there, what's available. A lot of running backs still there. Where you going to gain a little bit of an advantage. Tight end could be that spot. So we'll see how this draft goes. It's an interesting one.
Good to see you, man. How are you doing?
What's going on? Good, man. Just chilling. Just trying to figure out this board. That's all.
Yeah, that's the thing. You went Cooper Kupp. Let's talk about that pick. Cooper Kupp at the 1-4. We saw Mike Santos do it at some point this year, and now it's like Cup, Pollard. Talk about that combo. Have you seen that a lot? Are you feeling good about that?
Yeah, I am definitely. Actually, I was hoping Cup would fall. I had a McCaffrey team already from the spot, so I was hoping McCaffrey would go, so it would make my decision easier. I wanted a star wide receiver, but actually I had a goal of going 3 receivers, but kind of Pollard fell into my lap, so I kind of like changed my plan. So I kind of went that direction with Pollard because I love his potential. On that offense too, that's, he's just, if depending on what they do with the backup and how they use, Pollard's potential is untapped, to be honest with you. This guy is so seldomly used. He's almost 30 years old, but if you look at his usage, it's not that much over the course of the last few years. So the guy's got fresh legs, man. Just got to stay healthy. That's the key.
Adam, let's talk about that. Let's stick on that topic. Cooper Kupp, there's a lot of people that are going to be in their fantasy draft. They're going to have the number 4 pick, and they're going to say to themselves, are they getting the Cooper Kupp from 2021 with 145 catches and 1,900 receiving yards, right? Or are they getting the Matt Stafford that you hear that they're shopping around the league and they didn't get any offers? That's a big concern if that's the Stafford we're getting.
Yeah, I think Stafford's going to be fine. I feel like he's healthier than
17 weeks.
Yeah, I feel like he's healthier right now than he was last year at this point. I love Cooper Kupp. I think that's the pick there. That's the pick at 3 for me, honestly. He was better last year. Kupp was better last year than he was the year before in points per game. Like, he's not old. He is 30, I think, and him and Stafford have who else? I don't want to talk about other players that haven't been drafted yet, but like, he's the guy. He lines up in the slot. They're best friends. It's just going to be again
75 catches through week 9 last year.
Yeah, I was going to say the guy finished top 25 and he missed half the season. How do you argue with that? Even if he gets 75% of that production, he's worth that pick.
Yeah.
When you're picking here, you need to find 300 points or at least that level. If you don't get it there, then you're done. You know what I'm saying? Unless you get lucky with your, the rest of your draft, but you can't miss on those picks, man.
So let's talk about that 3rd round pick, Angelo. Deebo Samuel. It's not the Deebo that's in the backfield that we saw a couple of years ago.
No,
it's the Deebo that's hoping to catch passes from Brock Purdy, for the most part, Sam Darnold or Trey Lance.
But he's perfect for that offense and how Schottenheimer or whatever his name is. What do I call it? Well, what's the coach's name over there? I'm forgetting. What's the Niners coach? Shenanigans. I like calling them shenanigans because that's what he is, shenanigans. The thing is, the way they run their offense, gadgety, set plays. The guy's a one-play touchdown. He doesn't need much to create. The thing is, if I look at a guy, and I'm looking at the 3rd round, there's a lot of good talent. I need an explosive guy that has potential to hit that ceiling. Now, McCaffrey's there, I get it, but there's enough on that offense to feed a couple of guys. You know what I'm saying? More than a couple of guys because of the way Shenanigans runs it. Deebo, injuries slowed him down last year, but this guy's healthy. He's 30 points at any given week. And that's the thing that when I play, I'm not looking to win every week. I'm looking to get points every week. And that's the end game is points. Where are you going to get those explosive games from? And Deebo is that guy. Hey, listen, the guy could be average all year, and then you go to the last 4 weeks when it counts, and the guy goes off for, 25 points a week for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, here's the thing about the Niners too is when they're all healthy, they're all average, right? They're all eating from each other's play. When one of those guys is out, Kittle or Deebo or McCaffrey or Ayuk, the other 3 eat. They eat. So unless you think they're all going to be healthy all year long, and even Deebo said himself, Deebo was disgusted with the way that he played last year. He is ready to roll. He's a guy with a chip on his shoulder. Again, it's a little. I love where you took him here, Angelo, because again, it's a little like, oh, you're taking him ahead of ADP or whatever. Like, you got to go get your guy. And like you said, Deebo, the team could be healthy.
What are the potential? A lot of the guys after when you really think about it. Cooper's a 240 guy. Okay, right. Keenan Allen is old and you don't know what you're going to get anymore. Yeah. Drake London is unproven. Ridley, he had a year off. You can't underestimate what a year off of football will do to somebody. Pittman was way overdrafted. Watson, we'll see there. There's a lot of question marks, man. So when I look at a guy, Deebo's proven. Just stay healthy. That's the thing.
Sean projected this offense, this passing offense, for 4,000 yards and 27 tutties through the air, and that brought Deebo's total down to 62 catches for 835 yards and 5 tutties. Now, if that happens, you're not happy. That's a wide receiver 33 season. He has Ayuk for 76 catches, actually, a 977 and 7. So it's interesting. It brought it down for me. It scared me. I have to rethink it. Nothing wrong with you taking him there for sure. For some reason, we've got to get Sean on the show to talk about that. Sam, I mean, look, we can read the outlook, and he's got the explanation in there. DJ Moore.
We'll do the NFC West too, Scott, coming up here in a couple weeks. We got the AFC West this week coming up, and then we'll eventually get to the NFC West team preview.
Well, it's important because he's down on him, and Angelo's high on him, and so I'm somewhere in the middle there. I feel like I'm overthinking Calvin Ridley here for some reason. The appeal of a piece of Trevor Lawrence
it's not
that I can
down
lock
on him
my
either.
teeth
I mean,
into.
I think it's going to take him like a half a season before the guy really gets his feet back under himself, and that's the problem. Is when are you going to get his points? You might get so frustrated early on, you let him go, and then he's blowing up the last 4 weeks of the season. You know what I'm saying?
You think he's like out of shape?
No, it's just the game speed, the game itself. You know what I'm saying? I'm like Ricky Williams was the anomaly of leaving and coming back and producing. How many guys could leave and come back and they're dominant? I'm not like, you know what I'm saying? I think the expectations are a little bit higher than
an injury, though, right? I mean, it wasn't even his decision to leave, so it's like an injury.
Correct. But you still, unless you have that game action, there's no simulation that will put you in that position. You know what I'm saying? Until you get out there and start seeing the speed of the game again. Dude, being away a year could be an eternity for some of these guys. You know what I'm saying? A year away from football at its highest form. You know what I'm saying? You can't. To me personally, I took Ridley too. Don't get me wrong. I'll get a little piece of him, but you're can't undervalue how much being out a whole year means.
Jack,
he's not on your fate list.
Go ahead, Jack.
We've seen this just last year. Deshaun Watson. Everybody assumed as soon as he comes back from the suspension, he'll be playing just like old Deshaun Watson. New team, not playing for over a year. It takes some time, and it's the same situation for Ridley. So it might work. I'm not saying it won't, but there's a significant degree of risk in that pick. And,
I can not to change the subject, but you can even say Breece Hall. That has J.K. Dobbins screaming all over it. Oh, he's good. Oh, we got to go back in, clean up something.
Yeah.
See you for the next 4 weeks. To me, I don't know.
To me, Javonte Williams is more of a Dobbins thing because Breece Hall is saying, like everyone's saying that Breece Hall, whereas you had, Dobbins last year Dobbins was the only one saying he was good. The doctors were like, we'll see. The team was like, we'll see. Like, I feel like Breece Hall, but I get it. Breece Hall is going in the second round. There's third round. There's obviously some concern there, but I feel like Javonte Williams might be a closer comparison. But then the price is baked in there, right? He went RB 27.
I wouldn't do it there, man. To me, that's just too high risk, especially when you get in the higher dollar amounts when you start playing the main events.
Yeah, RB5's high.
You're risking a lot.
RB5's high. Yeah.
For
sure.
Now you also take DJ Moore in the fourth round. You're stacking yellow stickers here, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are some other receivers probably on your radar there. With what we saw out of Mooney going from 81 catches down to whatever that was last year with Justin Fields, they are going to pass more, of course. But what do you think about DJ Moore and his target volume he's gonna see there?
Being from Chicago, so obviously I'm tuned in over here. Everything I've heard has been great. The guy looks the part. He looks like a number one. They've made a good connection. They've been playing together. I mean, it's a coin flip, to be honest with you. I'm hoping. You keep hearing there's AJ Brown. Yeah, well, let's slow down here. He's not AJ Brown, but. Yeah. If you can give me 75% of A.J. Brown last year, I'll be completely happy in that run. You know what I'm saying? If you can get to that 240, 250 spot, I ain't going to argue with it.
Sean has the Bears projected at 3,600 passing yards, with the receivers getting 2,400 of that split up between those 5 or 6 guys there. DJ Moore, he's got for 68 catches, 930 yards, and 6 tutties. So, yeah, it's that Chicago Bear offense. We want to see more passing. We want to let him see it. Let him air it out and see what he can do. Get him back at Ohio State. Let him air it out. These good wide receivers. Jalen Hurts, you take the quarterback after you saw Mahomes. Were you taking Mahomes at that point, or were you taking
not? You know what? It goes back to what Adam was saying earlier. Like when you look at the round and what's available to you at that point. Now, if I'm picking towards the back end, and these guys are gone now. I'm settling for what's there. But I mean, Marquise, I like him, but not there. Ayuk, same thing. I got Debo, so I don't want to do that. Burks, question mark. Tony, question mark. I like Lockett, but that's too high of a spot. So to me, it just makes sense. Quarterback, I mean, 5th round, you can't argue with it. You know what I'm saying? He's healthy. The weapons he has, he's 400 points. You know what I'm saying? You locked it in. That's why I did the same thing with the tight end. And my core is there. The thing is with a lot of these teams is you get your core. Get your core. Once you have that established, then you just got to fill it in. You know what I'm saying? So you that's how you maintain your weeks. And that's what I tried to do with this squad because there's a lot of good drafters here. So there's not a lot falling between the cracks here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of trying to hope and, hopefully this guy falls, I said, you know what? I'm going to take the most points I can each round. And that's what I've tried to do with each pick as I've gone along.
And Jack, I don't know how you're attacking the quarterback position, but this is supposed to be the year where quarterbacks flying off the board, and here we are in the FFWC. Man, they just keep going lower and lower, and I love it. I love it.
It's one of my favorite things about the FFWC is there's like this collective understanding that everybody's going to play like chicken on quarterback and tight end, and we're just going to see how long we're like looking around, like we're going to do another round. Yep. Okay. Let's try
I've been
another
in plenty
round.
of those drafts. Yep.
Yeah, but
you never want to. You never want to let the Kelsey drafter get Mahomes. You got to snipe. You got to snipe.
I love the Hawk pick in the 7th round, though. I mean, I think the distance between Hawk and Mark Andrews is way smaller than between Hawkinson and Waller, Goddard, Kittle, Pitts. So I think being able to get Hawkinson in the 7th when everybody else is getting those tight ends in the 8th is fantastic.
Well, I don't know if I like to look around to see if I want a round, and I mean, really, the only Montgomery might come the closest to me. From what I look and what I see there, what I could have had and what I have. This is a guy I'm starting every week, no questions asked. The rest of these guys are, well, am I playing this guy or that guy this week? See, that's what I'm drafting. That's what I'm looking at here. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, get that lockdown team in there. I'll let the last 2 spots or last spot be my decision maker, not, I try to limit my team. I want my core to be there. That way my decision-making is a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When you have too many choices, sometimes you make mistakes and you're leaving points on the bench on a weekly basis, because you're starting.
And Hawk has a chance to be, number 2. I mean, obviously if Kelsey plays a full season, but he has a chance to be number 2 and catch some more balls than anybody not named Travis Kelsey. So it's an excellent way to round that team up there after Evans. And then look, you need a running back. You had Pollard. And you're taking Kamara and Dillon. You're getting some serious weapons there, waiting till the 8th and 9th round to find your RB2. Rotate it in.
Yeah, I mean Kamara's a gamble, but I think his suspension won't be as bad as as people might have thought. I don't see more than 4 games, honestly, because of the way it's kind of being quiet in the news. Yeah. If it was louder, if it was making more noise, then I would feel like you would see a 6 or possibly even longer. But from how this is being handled, he's probably paying him off. And this is going to be probably 2 to 4 games. That's what I see. So I see a guy, if I don't play him right away, it's all right. As long as I am for the remainder of the year, I'm happy with it.
Jack, are you surprised that after the announcement and the settlement, his ADP was pick 71. He goes pick 93. He dropped 20 spots.
I think people just don't know what to do with it still. They're waiting for the league to come in. And I think – anytime there's uncertainty in what's going to happen, those are places I like to attack because I think people are very, the Bengals, what you're going to get. It's the same offense. It's the same players, the same, so you can project it easily. And the people who do projections can do that.
I got
when there's
that wrong.
Uncertainty, you don't know how to price it.
I got that wrong. His ADP was 95, so it's right in line. He had been picked at 71 at one point in a draft just not too long ago, but it was I saw the 71 next to the 95. So it basically no change. False alarm. It's difficult for people to figure out how to price, 4 games versus 6 games versus 2 games and what's the probability of each. And so they just kind of say pass and let it go instead of evaluating it fully.
Or they just do it in like a certain build, right? Like, okay, if I'm doing like a 0 or hero RB build, I'll take him and I'll load up everywhere else. I'll get like a Barkley or an Eckler, and then I'll come back and grab him. And when I have both those guys rolling with my receivers, my quarterback and tight end being elite, then I'm cooking. And so, that's
there's too many ways to draft though, where there's too many people doing the same thing and it just kills it. you'll have 4 guys going out receiver.
Yeah.
And it just makes no sense because then all the running backs are falling everywhere. You haven't built anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It really scrambles the board up. I mean, I've been in some really ugly drafts where just things that people are just forcing the issue. Whether they're starting 5-6 straight receivers and then they take 6 straight running backs, or they take 6 straight running backs and then take 5 straight receivers, or something ridiculous that never works. Like, this isn't best ball. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just silly things that just don't make sense to me. But I mean, hey, to each their own.
Yeah, you don't want to make a mistake in that, something that you define as a mistake in the draft. That's the thing.
Right.
You want to get through the draft thinking that's the pick that I would have made, even looking back at the draft board. And sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. We're going to
things that make sense. Don't force it. Too many people are forcing the issue to create something unique, and it just, all you're doing is creating other teams for, like, better teams for other people by doing that. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because you're allowing other players that probably should be getting picked to fall because Jack, you want to do it this way.
I will say, Jack, that I noticed that less teams this year, and I'd love to do an analysis. It feels like less teams are taking QB and tight end in the first 7 rounds because they know that is really going to hurt their lineup at the end of the day. I'm seeing a lot less of it. It's like the FFWC community, they really know their stuff at this point in July.
Yeah. In the first 6 rounds or so, I think it seems most common you get like one deviation from your running backs and wide receivers. It's either going to be a quarterback or a tight end. You're going to wait on one and go for the other.
But not one person broke that mold. Usually there's always a guy in a draft that does something that's like, okay, that helps us out. That gets us a little bit of something, a little bit of breathing room. But in July, you just don't see that here. Let's skip Squarehammer since he's coming on later to talk about his team. Lamb, Higgins, Cooper, Dobbins. Let's talk about Team Meyer. Tyreek Hill, Saquon Barkley, Adam. Jahmyr Gibbs in the 3rd round. We talk about him surging up the ADP. His ADP, what was it coming into tonight? Jahmyr Gibbs.
Gibbs was going at around the same thing through the 3-7.
Okay. It's just creeping. It's just creeping. Yep. Joe Mixon, who's deciding to take a pay cut to stay with the Bengals. You know what? I haven't seen are you a Joe Mixon drafter, Adam?
You know, I am, but like, I just don't want to be, but like, there's just, you have to, right? Like he's there. He's taking pay cut. Like he's going to get the volume. They're in a leadoff. They're in a Super Bowl window, right? They're not just going to give the ball to some rookie, some 3rd or 4th, 5th round rookie. Like Mixon's the guy, and so he knows the offense, and so yeah, I mean RB 16's fine. You know, I think I'd like to see him go a little bit lower. I'd like to see him go around RB 20 or so. But yeah, I mean I think the reason they took him here too is because again with the Barkley, maybe he doesn't play early on, but yeah, I mean Mixon's gonna be there. He's on a great offense. He has a great playoff schedule there. I think he's got the Chiefs week 17, I think. And so, yeah, it makes sense, but Mixon is he's getting older. Like, I don't like him as a player, but the volume, like Jack, I don't know how you feel about it. Like, I feel like the volume's just there and in a great offense.
Yeah. I mean, I always think of Mixon like Najee Harris if he played for a good team. Like,
sure.
It's just, it's volume, but those are really risky, because they trusted him, but they trusted him until late in the season and started to bring in P. Ryan to take the more important snaps. So the volume is his until it isn't, and up until the point that it is, you enjoy it. But then they bring in somebody, or the Chase Brown starts to play well, or who knows, and the entire justification volume is gone.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody like J.K. Dobbins, next pick, you could argue more explosive. There's more of a talent profile to bet on.
Yeah.
Volume concerns, sure, but it's the eternal debate between talent and volume.
I see that Joe Mixon went RB 16. Let's just talk about Sean's projections. He has him at RB 13. He's the only running back in Sean's top 24 running backs that's averaging less than 4 yards a carry. That stands out to me. It's like, okay, that's what you're getting. You're getting a volume guy, like you said, Adam, and Jack, you're getting a guy that's just a guy. 3.9 yards per carry. 57 catches, though. 57 catches. You're top 15. I mean, period in the story. It's happening. It's done. write it in stone as a starting running back. So it's and sometimes it's okay to have that safe pick that barring an injury, he's going to get you what he gets you. And a lot of times you can waste a pick here. I don't think you're going to waste a pick with Mixon in the 4th round. So Brandon Ayuk, Lamar Jackson, Rashad Bateman gets that little combo there, and then gets his tight end in George Kittle. Angelo, what do you think about Lamar, Kittle with that wide receiver core?
It's an interesting team. A lot of question marks on it. I mean, I'm hearing allegations with Hill, so that could backfire right there. That's why I've been hesitant with him, because there's some news that's supposed to be popping out about him. Yeah. Barkley's worried about his contract. Gibbs is unproven. We'll see that. Mixon, I own him in Dynasty, but I've drafted him nowhere so far in 20+ drafts. He's a good player, but he's just going to get you what you're going to get. You're not going to really go anything above that,
Jack, we ought to have some success rates here with 3 wide receivers through 10 rounds. How many times that wins a league?
Well, not just 3 wide receivers, but one of them being, a wide receiver that's played like 15 games over the past how many seasons? Yeah, like the problem, especially if you're taking Freiermuth when you take him, the wide receivers that are now available that are going to be potentially forced into a starting role, depending on how Bateman does, or at least your first depth piece are it's going to be quite a drop.
Team Meyer, can you please light up this board with yellow stickers, please? Come on. I mean, it's the 11th round. Just fire away. You can do it. Put some yellow stickers on the board, bro. Freiermuth? I mean, you don't need Freiermuth there. You need Romeo Dobbs. You need Rashee Rice. You need
actually, I was hoping Dobbs was going to fall to me. I was hoping I would sneak him because I was going to take him there, but I'm like, let me back up Kamara.
Well, that's the problem here too, Scott. Is you don't need any of those guys either. You needed
I don't understand the fire.
You needed somebody earlier. It's like, and that's the trouble that you get in when
got to fire away now, though.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, Beckham's not a bad pick stack there with.
There we go. Jackson. There we go. He's laughing at you guys now. I knew what I was doing. See.
But listen, when you have to start 3 receivers in leagues like that, full PPR, man, you can get caught up quick. 3 running backs early.
I'm not liking that construction, man.
Yeah,
that's kind of sloppy.
You can get in trouble quick.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that build.
We were saying earlier, this isn't best ball. The problem with doing like a heavy team stack where you've got Lamar, Bateman, and Beckham is that, if you have the computer pick which wide receiver goes off that week for you, then great.
Right.
One of them's going to go off. But if you're relying on both of them to produce in a given week, like that's a stretch.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be tough.
Let's move on to the next team. Resistance is futile. Starts off with Kelsey, Olave, Allen. Nothing wrong with that. Aaron Jones, nothing wrong with that. Treylon Burks, that's what you're hoping. We talked about that earlier in the show. No DeAndre Hopkins. James Conner, value. Elijah Moore, upside. Gibson feels like value. That's still Jamal Charles trapped in a Commander's uniform. Darnell Mooney, Tyler Algier, and Zay Jones. So no QB yet. Took the tight end early and is fired away back and forth at wide receivers and running backs. But at its core, it's starting 4 wide, 3 running backs, right? So it's Olave, Allen, Burks, and Elijah Moore in your lineup every week. Aaron Jones, James Conner, Antonio Gibson in your lineup every week, unless something changes. Adam?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough build when you start tight end Kelsey, which I've done in this format plenty of times, and just the way that it falls. Like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't love Allen there. Who would I have taken instead of Keenan Allen? Maybe Ridley, who we talked about. Maybe Watson. Like, it's just kind of an ugly. Like, normally it would be Gibbs, but Gibbs goes early. There's nobody. Maybe Samuel, but Samuel's gone thanks to Ruthless. But it's just kind of an ugly spot here for him. So I think he did the best that he probably could, but I don't like a lot of the micro, like I don't mind the build. I don't like a lot of the micro, like I'm not a big Aaron Jones guy, I don't know. There's just I don't like a lot of the players. I do like Elijah Moore, but this could be a tough one. Again, when you start tight end early, in 9-10 and premium, you really have to have it fall a certain way for you.
Yeah, Jack, it is a team as you look at it. There's nothing egregious about second round, third round, fourth round. Even if you don't like the Aaron Jones pick, I mean he's still Aaron Jones. Treylon Burks is that first time in the draft where he's like, okay, let's take a swing. And so if you're going to take a swing in the 5th round, that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that either. Then it becomes James Conner, which is almost giving you more of what you just had in the 4th, right? It's a steady, solid guy, not going to win you, not a league winner. But are you going to get a league winner in the 6th round?
I think you can argue about Travis Kelce in the 1st, tight end in the 1st at all, or taking a tight end that early. But after that point, setting aside that, it seems like a no mistakes draft. There isn't any, there's no big reaches. There's no, like a Kadarius Toney type of profile that you're hoping pans out. Most of these are people that we've seen performance from. Even Keenan Allen, he's old and that kind of scares us, but he's, the lead on one of the more explosive offenses that just got Kellen Moore. And when he was on the field last year, he played as he traditionally has. There was no drop off due to the age yet. So, he certainly could see more upside than we're expecting here, during draft season, just off of some biases that we have. But I think the most important thing is he's not making mistakes. There's no no blown picks where something is just wasted. Everything is developing towards the team. And, the QB 10 just went. So he's still got plenty of time to grab 1 or 2 quarterbacks to pair. And there goes one.
This is where Adam, this is where practice almost kind of comes into play. It says, if you take Kelce here in the 1st round and you're in the 6, 7 hole, this is kind of what your team is going to look like because of circumstance.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's just like you got to have the stomach for it. You got to have and Jack made a great point. It's like no mistakes. You can't really hate any of the picks, but you can't really love a lot of the picks because, again, they're all really just ADP based, And so, yeah, I mean, it is what it. Kelsey's got to be awesome again, and he probably will be, but it's just I don't think there's enough ceiling on a lot of these guys to really let this thing hit. But again,
maybe.
There's waivers too, and this team is.
But maybe he goes Jackson Smith and Jigba to spice things up in the 6th and says, okay, give me Madison in the 7th and, Jamison Williams in the 8th. You've sexed it up quite a bit from your first 5, 6 rounds because you're just hoping for lightning in a bottle in those late playoff weeks. But this team is going to probably get to the playoffs potentially because it's just got those 15.
Solid.
Ian and Demi, they were like the number 1 players in the world because their draft strategy, Ian's draft strategy was always 15 points a week. That's all he wanted. He just wanted that one guy. He wasn't trying to break the bank. He wasn't going for it. This is the kind of team he would build, and it would get him there consistently in the original WCOF format. So, yeah, you know what? It's that middle position. You take Kelce. This is a solid.
I'm not a fan of that squad. If you're gonna go tight end, you got to go different. I'm not a fan of it at all. To me, I look at it. He's 3 deep. That's it. A bunch of ho-hum question marks everywhere. If I'm putting my money on this team, bottom 3. I just can't see it. I don't see it. The only advantage he has is Kelce. Other than that, he's got no advantage anywhere else. And the thing is, when you break into these, you got to create advantages in certain areas of the league. And if you can't do that, you're just gonna be an average player week to week. I just don't. This team, I don't see it going anywhere.
Adam, how many can we have on at one time?
Does this team have 200-point potential? Let me ask you that. Because when we play FFWC, you better put up 200 points a few times a year if you're going to win your league. And I don't see that there. That's the problem.
I maybe 5. You want me to try?
Go. Let's give it a shot.
All right. Who? Oh.
And I think the answer, Angelo, is no. You need that other piece in there. There he is, Square Hammer. Ash, what's going on, man?
What's up? What's going on?
What's up, Ash?
All right. Look, he's prepared. He got the cigar, man.
He's got the ash. He's got the ash going.
Always.
The cigar will last the draft. That's the thing, I mean, I'd have to be up and back to the fridge a couple of times, and then I got to go to the bathroom. The cigar, you got no problems. It's just.
What's better than drafting and smoking and hanging out? You know.
Are you in the backyard?
I'm in my porch, my front porch.
You're home now.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, man. Let's talk about this draft spot. You got the 5 hole. You took CeeDee Lamb, and you followed up with a couple of other wide receivers. So talk about the draft.
Yeah. So I know you guys mentioned the build and why I took Lamb there. I definitely like Lamb. I like him a little bit better than Hill. It was between Hill and Lamb, but Hill with his situation. So, and I have a lot of Eckler stock, so I'm trying to build, and I'm in a ton of these drafts. So I'm trying to build a little bit different team. 5 wide receivers pretty much every week. I hope to start maybe 4 and then go with 3 running backs. So, I'm trying to build a solid team top to bottom where, like you said, get 15, 17 points from every starter. You're kind of good to go. So, of course, you'd like to get other players, but what I'm noticing a lot in all these drafts I'm doing is guys aren't waiting. They like a player, they take them, and to hell with the ADP at this point, because you see a lot of things going on that didn't happen before.
Yeah, you go ahead. You can go ahead and make your pick here. CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Jack. Lamb, Higgins, Cooper. This is your kind of draft, right? You're taking wide receivers, yellow stickers. He finally caves and says, "Give me Dobbins." Follows it back up with Marquise Brown. Doesn't get greedy with the running backs, and then bangs it a couple of more times with Pierce and Javonte Williams.
No, he's given himself plenty of outs, and I think it makes sense what he's saying about trying to diversify from a first round perspective, because there's a lot more flexibility as you get further in the draft to take different players, but really in the first round you're within 4 or 5 spots. Want to make sure you're taking people at the opportunity you have in your draft spot. So it makes sense to diversify with Lamb if he's trying to mix it up. And certainly, like Adam was saying earlier, the Lamb-Higgins teams, there are not going to be as many.
Yeah, it's funny when you do enough of these and do this, as much as we do, it's like you just see, you see a pick like that, yeah, he's just trying to diversify. He's trying to get his Cup Higgins stacks.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's so good at this now. I've been doing drafts probably longer than all you guys. Probably the oldest guy in this league, I would think. I've been drafting since 1982. And of course it's starting to rain. Fantastic. So, things have really changed a lot. Drafting out of magazines, having to be prepared. They make this really easy. You guys make it really easy to just kind of, you can do auto draft and kind of get anything you want now. So it's really different,
Yeah. Now, Angelo, were there any times you guys are drafting side by side here? Did he snipe you at any way? And then we'll ask follow back up with Ash whether you felt sniped.
Actually, fortunately he hasn't. No, he hasn't at all. But I like his team though. But no. Actually, I think B-Soul got me a couple times. But Square's been all right. He's been good to me.
Yeah, Angelo, I think I would have taken Debo before Cooper. So obviously that was the one I really felt.
Those are the two I was debating too.
Yeah, that's the one I felt I probably would have changed it up. I'm happy with Cooper. Everybody kind of downplays him, but every year he puts up over 1,000 yards, gets his 8 touchdowns a year. He's rock solid. So is he a guy who's gonna excite you? No, but he'll put up the points. So I'm happy with what I did here. You're never happy with your team. You're never thrilled. Oh, this is the best team. But you got to do the best you can because everybody in this draft is very good.
It's interesting. You guys used the 7-8 combo for a tight end running back. You went Hawk Kamara. He went Javonte and Goddard. It's a similar strategy there to snatch that up after you've secured your 4 wide. I know Jack may have snagged 5 or 6 wide at that point, but 4 will do. 4 will do. Anything else? Any other picks here that you feel like you're snagging in a lot of drafts? I mean, is a Sky Moore, a KJ Osborne, or Square, Lazard or Thielen? Any of these guys Are you finding them on your teams repeatedly?
Lazard and Thielen, no. I'm sorry there, Angela. Lazard and Thielen, no. I took them because I thought they were the best value. I mean, I could have went Beckham, debating those two guys, but I think Thielen is going to be the safety blanket for Stroud. So I said, let me get a guy who, been doing it for a while. And Beckham, coming off that knee injury, you just never know. And a bad passing team historically. So we'll see what happens with that pick. But it was a choice between those two guys there.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I like where those guys' values are. They're proven receivers with, say, Myers, Osborne, Lazard. I mean, Lazard, the connection he has with Rodgers, you can't discredit that. I mean, you're going to see it through the course of the season. I'm not where you're drafting him, you're not expecting 200, but if he hits you 170, hey, that's a win. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you're drafting those bottom receivers, you're looking for guys that are going to get snaps and get targets, And I'm not enamored with all the rookies this year. I mean, beyond the first 2 or 3 guys, the rookies are. Good luck with them, So I'm kind of looking at more veterans around this stage of the draft than I am.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think the rookies this year, Addison will put up some nice numbers. And Jigba, I don't know. I like Quentin Johnston only because of the injury factor that the Chargers have every year. So I like him, and he could definitely be a number 1 wide receiver for that team if things, keep going the way they go for those 2 wide receivers in the Chargers.
I see that next year, though, not this year. That's the problem. There's so much in front of him still.
Yeah, obviously for next year for Dynasty is a better choice,
right.
But you never know.
I took him. I know.
Hurt.
He's in our league, the one that we're in, actually. That's funny.
Let's move on with the rest of this draft here. Let's move on to Los Lobos. Los Lobos starts with A.J. Brown. We talked about the Breece Hall pick. Comes back with London Godwin, Josh Allen. I feel like, you have to do something about a slow start for Breece Hall. He solves that with DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, and James Cook. It feels a little heavy-handed here to try to solve it in that manner with that heavy of a running back cycle, only having 3 running backs and taking your QB that early. Feel like you need a little bit more wide receiver love here, Adam. But the 3 wide receivers you can't complain about.
No, I mean, London's a little scary, but fine.
Really?
It's kind of where. Well, I just think that the passing volume is going to be, it's going to be pretty low there. But where he's going, I mean, I like him better than Pittman, So there is that. But I think it's fine where he's going. But but Mingo, when he's your 4th, I like Mingo. But again, wide receiver 53, it's tough to get volume out of those guys. Like Angelo was saying, like, hey, if you're looking for if you get 170, 180 out of these guys in this range, great. And it's funny how you've got, we're talking about the rookie receivers, how we're worried about how they're going to perform. You have like 2 teams that took a lot of them. This team's got Mingo and Reed. Team 1's got Smith and Jigba and Johnston. So you got a lot of teams that are kind of in those receiving rooms, those rookie receiving rooms. And the Mims here again for this other team. So Dalton Kincaid. So some of the teams, you can tell some of these guys who are the big time dynasty players.
Yeah. Yeah, you're swinging. You're trying to catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe there's some chemistry with the quarterback, and maybe it helps. Maybe it's your Anquan Bolden like you had years ago. It's just somebody to give you that lift that you're going to need. But I feel like in the FFWC, you got to start 2 flex. You got to make it through the bad weeks, the bye weeks, the injuries, the tough matchups. There's a lot of factors there that affect how many points your wide receivers are going to put on the board, and it's nice to have options. I mean, that's why Jack's drafts 7 of them through 8 rounds.
That's a few too many rookies, though, man. That's Mims, Reed, Mingo. Ugh. I mean, I love his core. Hall, obviously, we'll see what happens with him. But then you still got your question marks with Swift, James Cook, and how the usage is going to be over there. But then this is your flex plays, Mingo, more Reed. That's tough, man. You're really setting yourself up for some hard weeks. Let's put it that way.
If it was me, I probably would have taken instead of Hall. And I'm a Jet fan like you, Scott. So Breece Hall. I think in the second round there was a tough pick, and then London. It's a tough way to go.
If you're taking Breece at 2.5, which is ahead of ADP, which is fine because he, if things hit right for him, he could be RB1. Like he has that sort of potential. So if you believe in that and you want to take him in the second round, that's fine. But then, I think you're hedging your bets after making such a confident bet. Instead of Swift, you could have got Evans, Addison, Dotson, JSN, Brandon Cooks, to give you a little bit more options or a little bit more depth in wide receivers. So if you're going to make the bet, then follow through with it. And then Montgomery as your running back too is a fine running back too.
That's a great way of thinking and talking it out, Jack, because you made your bed with the Breece Hall pick. You're going up against 1,000 teams. There's no hedging at this point, right? Not against these players. There's no hedging. You take Breece Hall and you make your strength stronger at that point, right? Taking more running backs because now you're fearful that Breece might not be ready is only going to make the gap between you and your opponents even greater. So, but look, you got Josh Allen. You're gonna pick up some points there. You just hope that you can catch lightning in a bottle with a couple of those players. Mott the Hoople. Let's talk about Mott the Hoople. This is the snake, infamously the snake. Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, Kadarius Toney in the 5th, Dalvin Cook in the 6th, Justin Herbert, Kyle Pitts. Let's stop there through 8 rounds. Adam, he was your co-host last week. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, no, I think it's okay. I mean, I like the build. Cook is a little question mark for me. He's got some landing spot. If he lands in Miami, I love it. Toney, question marks for me. But again, Wilson, love Wilson. Waddle, love Waddle. Ridley, kind of all over the place. People are all over the place on Ridley. Talked to some former main event champs a couple nights ago. They love the Jaguars offense and Ridley. So, ETN, you're getting 2 pieces of that offense. So that will be interesting to see. Gets himself an elite quarterback, gets himself possibly an elite tight end. So yeah, I think the core's fine. Cook, he needs Cook to get a nice landing spot where he's getting most of the work. And then he needs Toney to stay healthy.
I'm gonna pan to you, Angelo. Angelo,
I think it's the best draft tonight. I think he's got the league winner. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, every pick. I mean, on the money. Snake, you got it, buddy. I'm sorry, man.
I thought we were gonna have this competition, get them in the ring together, and then you show him all this love. This is just
because he's in the belief that if you love his team, he's gonna lose. So he's the opposite guy. If you hate his team, that means he'll win. So he wants you to hate his team. He doesn't want you. So how can you argue with Wilson in the first round? I mean, he's 300 points guaranteed.
That's perfect.
No, but all in honesty, though, I do like his draft. Though I don't hate it. I do like it. Yeah, there is some question marks, but I mean, when you're looking at construction of rosters, this is. Look at this, and this is a good blueprint of how you should build a draft, where it gives you great playmakers. You got 2. I mean, Cook's going to sign. You're going to have 2 solid running backs. You got your tight end. You got your quarterback. Now you just got to play with your depth. And that's what any draft you do, that's what you want. So I can't argue with this. This is actually a really good draft.
By the way, when we say Cook's going to sign and he's going to play somewhere, sure, but he's going to play somewhere in a timeshare. This is not Dalvin. Right, so I mean, I guess all those backs.
Which team is in a timeshare? Pick me. What there are 2 teams in the whole league that aren't the timeshare. So it's.
Yeah,
I mean, his team is definitely well constructed. I think Toney was a question mark there. Dalvin Cook, like you said, he's going to be in a timeshare. I mean, as a Jet fan, I hope he signs with the Jets, although that would be terrible that would suck for Breece. But Herbert's a great quarterback. Pitts, great upside. Rashad Penny, always has upside. So definitely has a Rashad Shaheed. I definitely like him a lot where he got him. So, he's definitely put together a good team. Like I said, everybody in this draft, I'm looking, and I don't see any, big glaring mistakes. And usually, there's always one team that kind of does that. I drafted last week in the RVB, and somebody took, 4 defenses or something like that, which was kind of crazy.
All right, let's move on. Witty Sports G, points leader from last year, runner-up. We talked about it, right? You're the points leader all the regular season. You don't finish it, but you come so close. He wants to take another crack at this. Austin Eckler falls to 10. You take Austin Eckler, Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman. Jack, any concern about Pittman? And we're going to just talk straight player eval here. With Anthony Richardson as quarterback, do you feel like wide receiver 21 is a good spot for him?
I don't know how you can't have concerns about, with Michael Pittman. You're dealing with not only a rookie quarterback, but a rookie mobile quarterback who's going to tuck and run more often. And on top of that, one that deals with, accuracy issues, probably more so than your average rookie quarterback. And then on top of that, when he does do well, where he exceeds is, the deep ball, which is going to be Alec Pierce instead of Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman more, big body possession receiver. So there's just there's a lot of currents running against Michael Pittman, especially at that price.
Yeah, that's a confusing pick. That pick there was, I don't know, man. That's
wide receiver 21.
That pick didn't need to be made right there. I'll tell you that much.
Wide receiver
I would have gone
21 ADP is wide receiver 34.
Yeah, I mean, even if you waited to the 4th round, that's fine. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's way of an overreach for a guy that had 100 catches and not even 900 yards. Didn't even break 1,000 yards last year.
It's trying to set up the Richardson stack, which he does later on. But I don't think you need to stack. You don't need to stack run
Richardson
first quarterback.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nah.
But he's a believer. He's a believer.
Yeah.
Mark
But
Andrews.
you know what? We draft volume though, so let's be real here. This is probably many squads that he's building, so I can understand why people do certain things when we draft these because this is my 9th squad already. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I do different things to mix it up. You kind of have to. You don't want to be too many shares of too many guys because that can kill you too. Kind of want to balance it out, create, and see what happens.
And he's got the running backs covered with Sanders, Eckler, Madison.
He's good there. That Pittman pick though. Oof.
Yeah, you go get your guy though. You go get your guy. Maybe it's obviously his guy because he paid such a price. He had to scroll down the list to get him. I mean, it's on the ADP list. So when you go get your guy, you go get your guy. Now, could he have fell to wide receiver 34 where his ADP is and you took him instead of Sanders? Yeah, but if you have a guy,
grab your guy. If you have a belief in somebody, hey, at the end of the year, when you review all this, none of this is going to be as is. The guy in the 5th is going to be the 1st. The guy in the 3rd should have been in an 8th. Nobody knows the exact correct process of putting the right points together. We're just assuming ADP. So if you have a belief system, go with it. Go with it. Go with your gut. Go with your instincts and see what happens with it. And if it works, go. If it doesn't, now you know what to do maybe for next year. You know what I'm saying?
No, because you want to limit, and again, can you whiff on a pick? Sure, you can whiff on any pick. Any pick can roll their ankle, high ankle sprain, torn ACL, anything like that can happen. You lose your pick. You'll look back on your draft and you'll have maybe 5 nice picks that carried you to the to the playoffs.
I'll give you a quick story.
This is what I mean about guys going and getting the guy
they want. 2014. I ended up winning $20,000 with that team. I had Adrian Peterson. That's the year he beat up his kid and he got suspended for the whole year. But the rest of that draft, I ended up drafting it accordingly, and it ended up still giving me what I needed it to do. So you can lose a 1st round, 2nd round pick, but you better be on the money with the rest of your draft, and you better hit them waivers because that was what won it for me. Actually, was waivers.
Yeah. 2 more teams to break down. In the box, what's in the box? Adam, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Christian Watson, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett, Cam Akers, Nico Collins, who's apparently the favorite target for CJ Stroud, and Tyler Boyd. Njoku and Watson for the 9-10 combo there. It looks nice. Talk about those first 8 picks. Taylor, Bijan.
I like it. I like what he did. It's in a similar fashion of what Snake did. similar style build. Get your receivers, get your running backs, fill in your core. Can't argue with the team. Three legit running backs. He's got 3 legitimate receivers with with Collins up and coming possibility. Boyd will give you what he gives you, but I love what he did there. It's a good team.
Yeah, I like what he did too. With Taylor and Bijan, I would have preferred to see him go maybe with like a Lamar in the 6th round or something to give him a really good. He would have a massive advantage at running back, and to have one of those elite quarterbacks, I think, would have been a nice thing there. And to still go with those 5, volume at receiver, loaded, kind of stacked at running back, and maybe he could have come back and gotten 7th. He still could have gotten maybe instead of Collins. Maybe it goes Lamar and Madison or something like that, as opposed to, because I think Nico maybe went a little early here too, maybe wide receiver for 46, but I like Nico. But I just think when you take in a start 3 receiver, you can start up to 4 or 5. When you go Taylor Bijan, just let those dudes ride and go get an advantage at quarterback or even tight end over taking your 3rd running back.
I would agree with that.
But I don't hate it. I certainly, like
Right.
you were saying, Angelo, I like the build. It's fine.
No, I agree. But what you said makes sense too. It makes perfect sense. It's all on how you see it as you're going along too. It's how you. Some people feel they have to have that 3rd running back, so they won't do that. Like what you just said, they got to have that 3rd guy no matter what.
Yeah.
So
he built a solid team. I mean, like you said, maybe I would have changed it around and definitely picked the quarterback early to give him an advantage. But all his guys, he has a starting lineup set. Definitely a team that's going to be, competitive for sure.
I want to know
Lawrence
what
Curtis, that is Red Zone Raiders. He won the Mock Draft World Championship, so that's a fun contest too. Mockdraftnow.com for the plug.
I want to know what inside information he has in Arizona, because Kyler Murray in the 13th, which obviously a high upside and take your stab, but I've seen Kyler in these drafts go like 17, 18, 19, 20th round. So to take him to the 13th, certainly, it's a 13th round pick. So, at that point, the marginal gains, but I think there must be some sort of strong conviction in Kyler's return to take him there.
Yeah, QB 20s is ADP.
Yeah, chance at. If not too long ago, we were looking at him as the highest ceiling of any quarterback. Right there with Mahomes. So can he get it back? That's yet to be seen. Let's finish it up with Team Cruz from the 12 hole. It's always nice to work on the end because you're not gonna get sniped. Diggs, Amon-Ra, Jerry Jeudy, Najee Harris now is a 4th round pick. Gotta love Jalen Warren somewhere here. Rashad White, Joe Burrow, Gabe Davis, and Zay Flowers makes the 8th round here. So, Jack, let's tackle this one together. Diggs, Amon-Ra, Jerry Jeudy. That's your kind of build. Najee, Rashad White, Burrow.
You're going to laugh at me. I do like the 3 wide receiver start. I like those 3 wide receivers in particular. I just would have gone with different running backs. I guess I have personal, stand. I'm not really thrilled with Najee, especially as a 4th round pick. I think Rashad White, I have concerns, not only like rookie year with Tom Brady didn't really flash much, and now it's a Baker Mayfield offense. Just some concerns there.
Right.
So I love the wide receivers, but yeah, I would have shored up running back a little bit differently, I think.
Rashad White is the only other running back that Sean Childs projected for under 4 yards a carry in the top 24 at 3.9 yards per carry. And I don't think it's an indication of anything to do with the player Rashad White, but it is, like you pointed to, it's that offense. It's that offensive line, and it's the just the potency of a Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask-led offense. I just don't think it's going to scare many people.
And, I don't think there's anything wrong with those players to sprinkle in. I just worry about, your 4 running backs are Najee, Rashad White, which we just discussed, Samaje Perine, who, may be very good, but if we're wrong on Javonte, that could be a problem, and he comes back earlier than we think. And Brian Robinson, kind of just a volume guy that seems to be getting outplayed by Antonio Gibson at times. And Gibson seems to be more of the Bieniemy style guy. So, again, nothing wrong with any of these players, nothing wrong with the way that he was drafted. But I feel like when you have that many running back question marks consolidated together on one team, that's probably the one drawback on this team for me.
Yeah, it's okay to have that many question marks. You just don't want them in your 4th and 5th round picks. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to go like a straight 0 or something like that, I think you can have those question marks, but without that draft capital. I love Gabe Davis as wide receiver for 47. He's a guy I've been getting a lot. I mean, that role, it's probably not going to change much. He was playing with a high ankle sprain a lot of the year. People forget Josh Allen was playing with a busted elbow for most of the year last year too. So if he connects on some of those deep balls that they didn't connect on last year, I mean, he was going, wide receiver 21, 19, 18, somewhere in there last year. I mean, just a healthy Gabe Davis and a healthy Josh Allen, he could be an absolute smash as wide receiver.
You guys remember when the high stakes pros of the FFWC and FFPC were all taking Gabe Davis in the 3rd round? I mean, it was third and 4th round Gabe Davis from last year. I mean, it's best ball Gabe Davis now.
Right. That's right.
Best ball Gabe Davis. Okay, that's it. That's the 12 teams. We will give these guys a chance to look and decide who their favorite team is in the draft. But first, we talked about the new segment. What's in the box? We're gonna break it out right now. What is in this box? That is what we want to know. That's what everybody wants to know. Look, it's a little something fun that we're doing now. Occasionally, we'll have some giveaways just to make it fun. And what's in this box are a few items that, depending on who you drafted, there'll be a little price. So here we go. We're going to open up the box. And right off the bat, what's that say? $150 in FFWC for Chig Okonkwo.
Oh.
Team
Chig.
12. That's Cruz.
Team 12. There you go.
$150 for Chig.
Let's go.
Congratulations. Hey, you know what? You just made that draft a little better, my friend.
A little cheaper.
Okay, what's next in the box?
Well, now he only loses $200.
That is an Antonio Gibson.
Is that him again? No.
Let's take a look.
Where is it at? I saw him somewhere.
Antonio Gibson.
Kelsey team.
There he is.
And that's numbered.
Resistance is futile.
Scott.
Wow. Big time.
Antonio Gibson rookie. I said Jamal Charles. Now this is a veteran autograph card. Chris Godwin.
Ooh.
Chris Godwin autograph.
Los Lobos.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Los Lobos, congratulations.
Wow, very nice.
All right, we've got there's something else in the box there. There's something else in there. We're gonna sit it down here. We're gonna open this one up. This one looks pretty cool. What is in here?
I'm excited.
Okay. What do we got here? We got a couple of. Okay, what does this say?
Ravens? Is that Ravens defense?
What is that?
Not Lamar Jackson. What does that say?
I don't even know.
Rashad
Bateman.
Bateman. The gift that keeps on giving.
Let's open that bad boy up. Who drafted Rashad Bateman?
Team Meyer.
Wide receiver 43. I like that pick, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice. Autographed. Sweet.
With a patch, looks like.
Gotta have the patch.
Rashad Bateman. All right.
We're spreading it
And
out.
then, finally, we've got this.
I win the gold box.
What is in the bag? In the box. In the bag. In the box. In the bag.
Bears.
Is that
In the
DJ?
box.
What do we got?
Justin Fields. Autograph. Select. That is numbered to 75.
Pirate Monkeys.
Oh my God! Pirate Monkeys.
Pirate Monkeys.
He won the Aaron Donald helmet not too long ago, I believe.
Wow. Very nice.
Unbelievable. Well, congratulations. That's what was in the box. That's a $600 card right there, bro.
Wow.
That's you could throw that on the bay, right? You can throw that on the bay right now, or you can hold out and hope that he makes his move.
That's right.
Could make his move. All right, Adam, let's go back to the draft. Let's talk about the team that stands out to you. Could it be one of the two guys that's drafting here that's on the live stream?
Ooh, maybe. Am I up?
I'm probably donating.
Am I picking who I like?
Well, we'll start with Ash. Ash, you got a team? Who you like? Is it yours?
I definitely like Team 12. I like Team 12 up until Rachaad White. Joe Burrow was a guy I would have liked to come back around to me to pair up with Higgins, but I do like his team. I'm not going to be a homer and say I like my team. I always like my team. So if you don't like your team, you shouldn't be drafting. And I think Angelo has a good team as well.
Oh, come on, Kabash. Put the Kabash on me now. Actually, I like his team. I like what B-Sol did. I love what Square did. I like what Snake did. Even Team 1. I like how his felt. Prescott in round 12. That's a solid team right there. It should be a competitive league.
Yeah, the team I like. I'm just gonna pick one. There's I like Ruthless and Square, both solid teams. I like the build of team of $33. I know Angelo's gonna hate me because they took like 5 straight receivers here, but I like Jake. I like when they go receiver, running back. I feel like that's the sweet spot of kind of how these drafts go. And then after that, Kenneth Walker could be, again, a guy that could have been a top 6 or 7 running back going into this draft if it wasn't for the Charbonnet going. So, and then this loading, getting volume at receiver. I don't even care about the micro takes, although I do love Quentin Johnston, Jameson Williams later on. So we'll see. I like Jefferson as a receiver and a half out of there. So I like that build.
Believe it, I got probably more team builds like this style than I do what I did today, to be honest with you. So yeah, I don't know. This year's weird with me. Usually I'm a receiver guy, but I don't know. These drafts are weird this year, man.
They're going so early.
Yeah, there's things that are, listen, to me, the way I look at it, there's things that are happening in drafts that don't make sense to me. As far as taking people way beyond where they need to go, and then leaving other players there that should have been taken. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing way too much imbalance in the drafting. We'll see how it plays out, but that's how I feel so far with it.
Yeah, I definitely see that this year. Like I mentioned, everybody is all over the place. Wide receivers are going so much faster than they usually go. T. Higgins in the second round. Did I love it? No, but he was probably the best guy for me to take at that point. I like Dameon Pierce where I got him. The guy should be a workhorse on that team. So, things are falling. Running backs are falling, which you never see. It's just a very strange draft season. I'm sure when preseason starts, you'll see very different draft boards.
At least it makes sense here because you have a format where you can start 5 and it's full point PPR. So at least it makes sense. Where some other sites, it's half PPR. You can't start 5. It makes sense.
Give me Pirate Monkeys. They can. You've got 5 wide that you can start every week that you can feel good about. We already talked about my thoughts on Hopkins. They press their advantage with Stevenson and Henry. They don't come back to running back until the 9th, which I think is good. They're taking an upside quarterback, and then they're just leaving it be. And then I love Higbee. There's no one beyond Kupp that I think is going to be, are we looking at Van Jefferson or Tutu Atwell or give me a break. So I think Tyler Higbee is a great volume tight end to go late. So I think it's give me Pirate Monkeys for my
that team just has to stay healthy. That's the key to this team builds like this where you're heavy relying on the top. You got to stay healthy. You don't stay healthy, you're done.
Yeah,
but I agree with him. I like it. It's a solid team.
Put some respect on that Tutu name, man. I don't know. Look, I think I'm going to go with $33. The one hole you've got an edge right now with Justin Jefferson. You got Jay Jetta on the board. The running backs. I mean, I'm not thrilled with the Jacobs pick, but as long as he just holds the fort down, that's all I really care about. And then in Jigba, Jamison Williams, Quentin Johnson. He's got enough depth here at wide receiver. And look, you wait till the 12th round. That's how you do it. That's how you win in the FFWC. You want to be last or next to last, taking that quarterback. 12th round and taking Dak Prescott, who's probably going to throw a ton this year, because have you seen how much disrespect is on Dak Prescott right now? They are going to let this guy air it out, and they have to. There is nobody to pound the chains and move the chains. Tony Pollard, that's not his game, and if they do that to him, that's a disservice to him. So, and Juwan Johnson, I think he's gonna be perfectly serviceable for Derek Carr in New Orleans. So, look, this is a tough draft. I think you all nailed it. There's no teams that stand out here that say, you know what, give me the check. Give me the check. It's a tough league. It's a tough time of year to be drafting. You're trying to play it and feel it out so that by the time August gets here, you're ready for the big boys, for the World Championship draft. So I thank everybody for coming on tonight. Any final thoughts, Adam?
No final thoughts. Next week we got some openings left for the RVB. I will be joining the crew for that. I think I'm going to jump in that draft. So I'll be potting with you, Scott, and doing some and actually drafting in it. So it'll be fun to kind of compete with all these dudes.
Sweet. I won't be able to tell you what's in the box.
I got to win something. Come on,
Jack. Thanks for coming on. Angelo, Ash, we appreciate you, boys.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great weekend, everybody. This is Red versus Blue. We've just made the announcements about Circa in the Discord. Everybody else will get the email on Monday. You never want to make the announcements on the weekend. We gave it to the Discord boys, so you know what's happening. But Circa is going to be off the chain. It's going to be incredible. The whole team has been working nonstop on this deal, and it's a long-term partnership. Let's face it, the high-stakes world has never been embraced by a hotel property before like this. And everybody is freaking out about it. So it's really exciting finally to do this, something really special for the players, and have an incredible draft experience. And we're going to be doing it all August. So if you can't make it out on opening weekend, where's your excuse now? You got all of August to come out, draft a mid-stakes team, or draft a world championship team, or draft both. Darius Rucker's Stars and Stripes leagues are going to be there. He's going to be drafting, taking photos with everybody. Eric Dickerson's going to be – this is their team too. They love to draft. This is their big draft of the year. So come on out. It's going to be a lot of fun. The whole team will be out there, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys. So until next week, Adam.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you back for Red versus Blue 3.